This is an iHeart podcast.
There's no shortcut to building gear that won't fail. That's why First Light built the new Forge waders from the ground up, field tested for years, so that failure isn't an option. Designed for waterfowl hunters who show up in the dark, who break ice at the shoreline, and who stay out when the conditions stay brutal. These aren't fair weather waders. They're built to perform and built to last. If you're planning your waterfowl season, plan around gear that won't quit on you. Forge waders by First Light. Zero quit season after season. Available now at firstlight.com. That's FIRSTLITE.com.
You're going on a Western hunt. Get ready physically, mentally, and find a team. Find a group of guys, girls, whatever, that'll push you. Find some people that are, you can bounce some ideas off of. You don't have to be training in the exact same vicinity all the time, but every once in a while is great. And then if you can daily do a little check-in, we're all better together, stronger together. And so find a group of people that are going to push you physically.
Out here, the stakes are real. Effective preparation starts with fitness, but it requires so much more. This show explores the tools, knowledge, resilience, and skills needed to be ready when it matters the most. Join me, Rich Froning, as we apply the decades of wisdom I've gained through training and competition to hunting in the backcountry. This is In Pursuit, brought to you by Mayhem Hunt.
In Pursuit,
Episode 2.
Episode 2. This is episode 2. This is actually for us episode 5 or 6, but this is episode 2 as it comes out. We're going to do these little in-between episodes, little tweener episodes.
The tweeners.
With us talking about the guest a little bit, but also just expand on some things that we either learned from the guest or just, I guess, current events that are going on in-house with us hunting right now. It's end of July, starting to get into some fitness, longer duration fitness coming off Angelo's literally leaving in 2 days for the CrossFit Games to compete.
Yep.
Me and Bert are not. So
Never have, actually.
Never have. Have you been to the CrossFit Games before?
No. You're going this is your first time?
First timer.
Wow.
All right. So we thought we'd do I'd do a little intro of everybody. I was on the first episode. We did that episode with the handoff with Phelps, so I don't feel like I need to labor who I am. But Angelo, give us a brief description of Angelo. He's been with us since he was 13. You're now what?
I'll be 26 tomorrow.
I spoke at Angelo's middle school PE class, and then he hasn't left us alone ever since.
Yep.
So 13 years.
Yep. 13 years. Started just training, working out. Realized I wanted to compete. And realized very soon after that I wanted to coach more than I wanted to compete, through mostly you and Darren, I guess. Just coach is a vague term. Vague term. Mentor, leader. I wanted to lead other people in a similar way that you guys did. Writing workouts. I really was interested in writing workouts, which was a good segue into my job. I really like CrossFit.
Humble brag.
Is that a humble brag that I like to write workouts?
Did you say you was really good at it?
Did I?
I don't think so. Did you say you was? Yeah, you did.
Maybe.
Cajun people.
Cajun. Speaking French.
No, I like to write workouts, and that's kind of,
So Angelo won the games as a teen.
Oh, you want me to say all that?
2 times?
Twice.
So age group, there's a 14, 15, and then a 16, 17. You won in each.
Yes.
You got second in each? No,
you got second. When I was 15, I won. When I was 16, I took third. When I was 17, I won again.
Gotcha.
And then started competing.
You took some time off there in the middle. Was a firefighter in town, or was up until a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. I always joke that you did my life in reverse because I was a firefighter first and then won the games. And then now you're on a team.
Yep.
And you guys training pretty hard. Yeah, you've done
since 22. Been on a team since 22.
You guys got fourth?
4th last year. Yep.
4th last year.
It's our best
And
finish.
then what'd you
so
get
far.
with Luke?
5th. So
Okay.
5th, 7th, 4th.
Gotcha.
3 top 10
year's
finishes.
going
Pretty okay.
Going for the top.
Yep.
So Angelo writes kind of the daily workouts for Mayhem Hunt. It's a collaborative-ish effort, but Angelo kind of refines it all and makes sure it's all packaged up and correct.
Follows a theme, I guess.
Programs,
Yeah. For sure. I mean, like, because you'll just do a workout, or like someone else will do a workout, Scott will do a workout, and they'll send it to me, and they'll say, hey, this is really good. Just find a way to fit this in, and then I just find ways to fit it.
Right, yeah, you kind of look at it from different cycles or different times of the year. From, programming standpoint, there's different phases. You got off-season, early-ish January through probably May.
Yep.
You're building strength and, doing different things. So there's some periodization, a little bit of science to it.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, at its basis, it's CrossFit, and it's high intensity, it's functional movements, and we constantly vary it, but try to take out a ton of the high skill gymnastics because it's not super crucial that you're doing that.
We're not training people for the CrossFit Games here.
Nope.
Training them for the mountains.
For the mountains or the stand.
Yeah.
To drag a deer,
And then,
did I send you guys that article last year that it was a record high of
Didn't somebody die too pulling a deer out?
several in Michigan, I think.
Oh, yeah,
however
yeah.
many, it was like 6 or 7 people died dragging deer out.
Yeah, heart attack.
So
Yeah.
even Western hunter or Eastern hunters, you should be doing some fitness.
Yeah, and I do put a lot. It is more difficult for sure. We don't have to get into it. We can talk about Bird, but I can.
Let's talk about you.
Talk about you.
I
Keep it
can
on you.
easily get into like some of the things that I do try to think about when I think about Eastern hunters. I don't think about only Western hunters because that is only half of our country.
Yeah.
I think about Eastern hunters as well. Bird and myself, we do a lot more whitetail hunting. So
I did a lot last year.
Yeah, no, you did.
Just kidding.
But like for everyone that I feel like now, maybe it's not commonly known, but it is more so. You need fitness to Western hunt, and you need fitness to like if you're going to go to Alaska. Like people hear that all the time, and you should know that. If you think the opposite, you're wrong. Like there's just no other way around that. Eastern hunters, there's a little bit less pressure on that, but there is still significant gains to being more fit.
The fitter you are,
Yeah.
easier everything is. The
Yeah.
more you can suffer, the more,
Even the less you sweat.
Yeah,
Like
that's
getting
true.
there.
That's true.
If you're in better shape,
doesn't
you're
matter.
walking there.
Doesn't matter for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a sweaty guy. You got that hyperhidrosis or whatever it's called,
Yes, I don't know.
That and his
Scott.
clothes just stay on the rubber floor all year.
Yeah, before I don't want to get too in the weeds before we even talk about who.
No, let's talk
No,
about
go for it. Bird,
Bird. Come on,
Well, I'm
give us
definitely like the
something.
fittest one here.
for sure.
Yeah.
You're the everyday man's like connection to this whole
Oh,
thing.
for sure, yeah.
People look at us
I'm just
and they're
average.
Like, well, they're like, I'm never gonna be CrossFit Games
Yeah.
champion. I can never be, team champion.
But
whatever.
I can be like that guy.
I can be Bird.
Yeah. So I'm
Guy
definitely
who
the
eats
most
the
average
candy
one.
off of the desk.
Bird probably has the best squat in this group.
Yeah,
though.
he does have a good squat.
Mobility
Just like your dad,
wise,
just hangs out there.
yeah, mobility wise. You add 5 pounds though, that squat. Apparently, the depth just goes away. I don't know. I don't understand it.
It's okay. I'm also Angelo's coach.
Angelo's coach.
Oh, are you?
Well, not fitness wise, but I would say life coach.
Life
for
coach.
Sure.
That's the first time I'm hearing of it.
You're his boss.
Yeah, my boss.
No, Bird, you've done. We met in 14,
Around
13,
there.
14, something like that.
Yep.
Did CrossFit a lot, or have done CrossFit a lot. Came up from Louisiana, a year ago? Year and a half?
Yeah. And that's what I was going to say. Even like with me hunting, there was a time period. I hunted growing up with my stepdad, and then he kind of left, and then I stopped hunting for a while.
Sad story.
Yeah. But probably when I was 29, 30, I worked at a church for 20 years. Some stuff happened, and then people started moving away, and I made the decision to stay. And I was like, if I'm going to stay, I'm going to take advantage of living here, because other than like LSU, there's not much to do in Louisiana. So that's when I decided, okay, I'm going to start hunting a lot now, because the outdoors is what Louisiana has. So just started hunting swamp deer and, and fishing. No, turkey's where I lived, only North Louisiana.
Oh, okay. I thought you got really into turkey hunting. You said that one year.
I did.
COVID.
I did, but I still had to travel 2 or 3 hours from my house.
Oh, got you.
But yeah, and then from there, moved here a year and a half ago. So it is too, we can talk about once you're talking programming, like the first probably year I went Western hunting. First of all, where I'm from.
Last year was your first Western hunt, right?
Where I'm from, nobody even like dreams about going Western hunting. It's not like a thing. So even to be able to do that, super cool.
Yeah.
It's just, nobody thinks they can do it. So to do that's cool, but then training, year before last was my first. Training when we went to Sam's compared to last year, and just the difference of, because before we went to Sam's, I just did Everyday Hero. Compared to last year was like night and day different as far as the programming.
Well, and what you're talking about is we used to have, or we still have, Angelo programs and Everyday Hero track. So it's similar-ish to hunt, and it's like DNA per se, but it's hunt is way more specialized to outdoors, where Everyday Hero still has some gymnastics, still has some of that stuff. It's more for military, police, fire. I would say even police, fire a little bit more, but military a ton.
Yeah.
And hunt is really, I think, catered towards military as well. But and so you did that, and and you were in Louisiana. You didn't have any altitude to work with. You didn't have any hills. You pushed the sled a lot.
Yeah, I pushed the sled a lot. I think it was funny. Like we were in Leadville last week, and the elevation's 10,000. The slab on my house, because I built houses, was 13 feet.
13 feet.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a bit different.
Yeah, it's a little different.
So yeah, I pushed the sled a lot. But even knowing stuff I know now compared to then, like I told Angela the other day, walking around Leadville and just up the hill, just the slow grind. If you come from that, just like light pound on a sled and just push 300 feet. Yeah. It would be super beneficial to walking up a hill.
Yeah, every time we go to the mountains, I as we're doing, climbing, going after something, walking back, I'm always thinking about, all right, what movement could we do, or how could we add it? And there's just so much benefit to, not only are you programming, based off of the science of it and thinking about it, but being out there and actually doing the activity makes the job way better, makes the programming way better. So, we can talk a little bit about Kip and a couple takeaways. One of the main things that I took away from that was the fact that they interview guys before they head out there. And, if they're not physically or mentally prepared, they almost won't even take them.
Yep.
And so, that's our goal with what we do. We want to make sure guys, girls, whoever's going out there, there's no question, right? That's not even something you're thinking about is, hey, am I going to be able to make it out here? Am I going to be able to hang physically? And then in what we do physically and the training that we do, it's hard, right? It's not easy. People look at it like that's too hard, but there's something to be said about the mental side of what we do and suffering and enduring pain to the physical side of it, right?
Yep. And then I try to program relatively often, either a partner workout or a one-to-one workout, which we like to do, where I do my set, you do your set, we just go back and forth each time. I put this in the notes a lot, that you could just rest the amount of time it took you, but having a partner to do it back and forth with, way better. And like you talk about liking to hunt with a team and obviously there's probably
especially Western hunting. Eastern hunting's a little bit tough to hunt with two people,
sure.
but Western for sure.
Having like 3 or 4 guys that you trust and you like to hunt with and you trust their opinions helps a ton. And it just makes the day, especially if the days start to grind on, or if we've done the public land thing where those days grind on. And so
Angelo's only experience out west was not a great experience.
You want people there that have good opinions and that you trust their opinion and that you want to listen to and kind of bounce ideas off of. And then that there's no better bond you can make with your friends than when you're sharing that suffering. And so doing it in the gym and then you go out to hunt, you just have way more trust in each other when you're doing that.
I would say not even just partner workouts or team workouts, but just working out with people at the same time in the same proximity. doing the same workout because we're all at different levels, right? And there may be movements that you're better at. There may be movements that Bird is better at. And so like, probably not.
And then there's movements that we might be better at. And then there's all the movements that he's better than us at.
I don't know, not anymore. But, and so, you know, there's just something to be said about, you know, like me and Bird will do a workout and he might go a touch lighter, or we go a different height on a box, or whatever that is. You know, we all know though that they're hurting just as bad as we are. And then, you know, if you are hunting in a group, if you can train together in a group, that's incredible, right? Yeah. But you can still like virtually share stuff. So we've got a Mayhem Hunt group that will share workouts every day or every other couple days. It tailors off or kind of trails off during the off season. But it's starting to fire back up. I actually have a pretty good one yesterday that me and Watkins did. I'll share that to the group. You know, a little taste of Mayhem Hunt, but we did 50 burpee box get overs, 48 inches. So you do a burpee, get up and over the box however you want. And then we ran a mile. It's like 1.65 miles out here in the trail, and then 50 burpee box get overs. Oh, yeah. And at first we did like follow the leader. And so you'd go up and over, he'd go up and over, back and back. And then we didn't run together. We were going to run together, and I kind of ran off and left him. And then we got back, and I just started chipping away at the burpees, and then he did his. But it was terrible. It's hot, too. It's hot this time of year.
I remember we did a workout very similar to that in the barn with a ruck on. We had misinterpreted the workout. I don't know how it happened, but it was basically the same workout that you're saying, but it was with the 30-pound ruck, and it took forever. It took forever. And like you're in like a slip and slide out there after, because we're working out, we're doing freaking burpees on the rubber it's 100 degrees outside. Oh my gosh. That was like 2 years ago. I remember, and I was like, this can't be right. This workout's way too hard.
Yeah, I would say with Kip too, for one, it's super, for me, it's always interesting to talk to like super successful people and just get, you know, how they think and all that. So that was impressive just to have him in. And then the biggest two takeaways from it is, which I wish we would have dove in more when he was like, rich people are soft. I wish I could have asked more questions about that. Didn't. But then how I know, and I honestly got kind of deep for a minute, but he was like, recently he was in Alaska, like sat on a cliff and just looked out by himself. And that was the first time he's ever felt successful in his life.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because if you think about everything he's done to that point, it's like, okay, now you're actually not doing anything.
Yeah. Now, from the world's eyes, they would say this guy's he is successful and he's been successful. And like, why is he just now feeling that?
Yeah. But it is cool how like your life, I guess, everything in your life adds up to a moment. So like all this stuff makes you who you are, you know, and now that he's there, so you can't discount goods and bads in your life for sure, because it makes you who you are today. But then just knowing it's like, okay, this is what, maybe this is what I grinded so hard for.
This is, you know, this is what I worked for, but you don't know that till you know that, right?
Yeah. It's very interesting. I think the more you get worldly, the less it matters. It seems like, I feel like we'll all do pretty well. So, but you start to, they're just like, it doesn't matter. You think when I get that next thing, or when I get there, like, oh, that'd be cool. And then after, in my opinion, when those things started to accumulate, it's like, oh, okay, it's never really going to matter that much.
I think it's perspective, right?
Yeah.
And as you get more, you realize how worthless those things are, really, and that what is truly worth it when you don't have those things. It's easy to say that, right? But once again, I think it's to go back to where he was talking about, rich people are soft, and that's why I think it's important. I mean, if you look at a high percentage of Americans, it's way easier here than it is everywhere else. And there's people hurting and all those things. But
I think sorry, real quick to touch on that. I think if you make like $30,000 a year, you're in the top 1% of earners in the whole world.
Yeah.
So yeah,
so
America has it pretty well.
And so we talk about doing hard things and finding, challenges and physical challenges. So, I have not competed in 3 years at the CrossFit Games, but doing Leadville the last 2 years was a challenge, right? It was something that I have to do. Going out west, having something to prepare for. And, the 24-hour mountain bike, the 24-hour row we do that Bird didn't do last year. I
was out of town.
You did have a little FOMO, you said.
Yeah, I would have done it. I would have done that. Bike race.
Bike race, not so much. You're not there yet.
I mean, I'm from Louisiana. It's all flat ground.
Still.
Biking is not a thing where I'm from.
It's easier when it's flatter.
You guys are having shrimp boils and stuff.
Yeah, I don't even know how I'm supposed to shift, like what gear you're supposed to be in.
We can teach you that.
Figure it out quick. If you don't figure it out, you're walking a lot.
I would rather probably just like a single speed.
Oh, no, you wouldn't. Oh, you would. Maybe if you got good, you would.
Hunting season is coming fast. You've glassed the ridges, hung stands, and marked your maps. Now it's time to make sure your gear is as ready as you are. From proven base layers to best-selling outerwear, First Light season opener sale is here for a limited time with savings up to 40% off. It's our biggest sale of the year. So whether you're chasing bugles in the high country or settling into a stand for opening night, now's the time to dial in your system. No shortcuts, no compromises, just the gear that gets it done. Shop the season opener sale at firstlight.com. That's FIRSTLITE.com.
Man, I had a train of thought that I was going to say something that added on to that. Now I lost it.
Doing hard things.
Yeah. And having physical goals is helps a lot too, because everyone knows there's a correlation between like mental and physical strain. So like you're talking about having those goals physically for you to do also helps you mentally. It's not just a grind into the unknown.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, well in 6 weeks I'm going to do this competition, or in 6 months I'm going to do this bike race, and it keeps you accountable to your goals. And that's the same. And you can touch on like hunting with other people. Like you don't want to go out there and hunt with like 3 or 4 people, and be the weak link and like hold people up and like ruin opportunities. It's there's that little bit of pressure you put on yourself and peer pressure. Some peer pressure is good. We do a lot of peer pressure around here.
Bullying.
We do a lot of
fitness bullying. Well, I mean, honestly, I look back at the years that I competed, and as an individual, you're like, if I don't get this in, which I, more often than not, I got whatever. I made a point to get whatever I was doing in. But on a team, there was way more pressure.
Way more.
You don't want to be the person that everybody's looking at. You don't want to let the person next to you down. There's so many different things, and that's why I enjoyed teams so much better. And that's why I always talk about hunting. And hey, if you want to go out on a solo hunt, it's incredible. Yeah. More power to you.
Yeah.
That's just not something I ever really cared to do. Not right now, at least. Who knows if I get to that point. But we're always working in a team. We're always, either there's 1 or 2 shooters and a camera or 2, but I always look at the camera guys being part of the hunting group, and so, man, I just, some of the most fun memories I've had are on the side of that hill, side of that mountain, going after things.
Well, the hardest thing you've ever done is the hardest thing you've ever done.
Yeah.
So if you don't continually to push that line forward, then you'll just stay in the same spot.
Yeah.
So I think like with hunting, whatever you're doing, like if it's hard, that's because you haven't pushed yourself yet.
Mm-hmm.
So if you continually push yourself, then these other things just become easy to you.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with us doing, some of these Meat Eater Friday posts, there's been a lot of talk on there and people getting upset at some of our methods, but we're talking to the 99% of hunters out there that don't have the time. You've got an hour. You don't have mountains that you can go climb and do whatever. And still, I would argue that doing some of this other stuff, especially in the off season, the stronger you can be and more efficient you are, the better off you're going to be. And if you can go from high heart rate, anaerobic work and settle back into aerobic work in some zone 2, you're going to be better off. So the more efficient and more times you can switch that on and off and doing some shooting at a high heart rate or shooting with your CNS fried a little bit, because when you get out there, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yep.
And so the idea is that we're switching up the stimulus as much as possible so you have this large bandwidth of different stimulus in different moments.
Yeah.
And so when you get out there, it's not like, oh, I've never experienced this before. And you're still going to get to that point where you're like, I've never experienced this before.
For
but
sure.
we're going to try to prepare you for as many different stimuli as possible.
Well, and even upper body strength. Like, you can't tell me once you get some meat on your back.
Oh, yeah, your traps, your upper body. You fall.
Midline strength. Yeah, all that stuff help. Even just, like, adjusting your pack for a minute. Like, if you're a bit stronger, all that stuff helps.
Easier.
Yeah. Like, I talk about the pack a lot, like, and then we talk about shooting. Like, I do a lot of workouts. I've programmed a lot of workouts where you're rucking and you're shooting, and you're rucking and you're shooting, and you spend a lot of time with that ruck on, because you literally will be carrying a backpack 4 miles, and then you'll have to shoot something, and it's a totally different feeling when you have that weight on your traps and your shoulders, and now you're asked to draw your bow back. It's a totally different feeling than when you go out here and you just do a little warm up and you start shooting, and the bow feels easy, and you have no adrenaline. And then you go out there and you get one shot.
You got one opportunity.
I knew you almost was going to
To
say
seize everything you ever wanted.
You get one shot.
In one
your
moment.
shoulders are exhausted. You probably have just hiked a ton. Most people don't just get out of the truck, no pack on, and draw a bow back and shoot a trophy elk. You're gonna be exhausted. So why would you? After you have figured out how to shoot well, we emphasize that you want to practice your technique. And I put that in there. There's days and times where you are just to practice, like just spend time practicing. But then other times you need to start to get sport specific is the way I like to put it, because our sport is hunting. You want to be specific to what would and might happen when you're out there. You're not going to be in a cool, calm environment where you just are hanging out with your buddies shooting bows. There's a time for that, but then there's a time for a little bit of add a little chaos in there.
A little like the Joker.
Yep.
Yeah, and another thing that I like to do every once in a while, when it gets closer to this time of year, is very limited warm up right into it. Obviously within reason, where you're not going to get injured, but hop on a machine, get that heart rate up quick, and then try to sustain. Do some intervals, but that first round is a warm up, because there's how many times have we gotten out there and you're kind of slow creeping, then all of a sudden it's on.
Yeah.
Right. And you're not. That happened to us last year. We were just kind of hanging out, and then all of a sudden we had to go, probably 1.5 miles, 2 miles. Yeah. And it was up, over, down.
And you didn't pick the best route.
I wasn't me.
Well, there was roads close, and
it was not me. That was.
And you were like, we don't need that road. Let's just go up this hill.
That was not me. I was not in charge of that map there. And so, we had to grind for 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was
rough.
High heart rate.
The other guy was hurting.
Yeah, Bird wasn't the one holding us back. Me and Scott were going, and Bird was not holding us back.
And I put a note on, sometimes, not all the time, I put notes in there saying, keep the warm-up to a minimum when you start the first round, and you just go into that shot cold.
That depends on the movement, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're not a huge range of motion, whatever, then absolutely.
Yeah, like row, like I'll put it, there'll just be rowing or running, and then you shoot with your bow at, 20 to 40 yards, whatever it is. And maybe you do want to warm shoulders up a little bit, but especially for Eastern hunters, dude, it's middle of November, you're sitting in the stand for, 4 or 5 hours.
You ever have guys sit in the cold plunge and then go shoot?
I thought about that.
It's actually not a terrible idea.
I used to do that every morning, actually.
Of course you did.
I used to do it every morning. I would get my cold plunge. That was my routine. I would get in the cold plunge, and I would get out. This is during wintertime, I guess, because my plunge is inside. Cold plunge, get right out, and I would have my target just 5 feet away from me. And so I would just draw back, and I would get all my anchor points, and I would shoot. I would shoot
5
one
feet?
arrow. Yeah, across the maybe 10 or 15. But it wasn't. I would obviously have a perfect shot every time, but I was just focusing on on my mechanics. I was just focusing on and being cold. And it's a little too far in the weeds, but I don't think it's
once
terrible.
again, I think you change up that stimulus as much as you can.
Yeah, and even as much as you can vary, I think it would be a good idea some mornings just to wake up when it's dark, whatever you normally eat in the woods, eat it real quick, and then just start going.
Go, yeah.
No warm up, nothing. Just whether it's Stairmaster, start pushing a sled, whatever. Just because it's different.
Yeah.
If you work out at 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock every day compared to just waking up and going straight up a hill.
And this is the same thing that we think about, and I'm sure that he was thinking about, like when you're going to the CrossFit Games. You're like, well, what am I going to – I'm not going to wake up and I'm going to sit on my front porch and have coffee. Have coffee
well, even
and
like
eat
for
a bagel.
y'all switched your training days and your off days because to mimic the games.
Yeah. Well, yes, and because Sam and I have to work full-time. So Sunday's way easier. But yes,
I'm glad you made that change.
For sure when you're closer to the games, it works out better. So it's just – changing your routine to think about, to prep yourself. And like I said, I use the word sport specific because hunting is the sport that we're training for. And so we try to get more specific the closer we get. And like you said, when you're out there, and even when I'm just thinking about it, like I try to set aside some time during the week where I can literally just brainstorm, all right, what can we come up with? Like, what can I think of that will help these guys? What's going to prepare them and maybe that's coming up with our own movements. I didn't come up with the over-under idea, but it just seemed to fit so well. I had seen it before, and I was like, that's a good movement.
Your corner crossing?
What?
It's legal now. Yeah. It's legal.
And for anyone who doesn't really know what an over-under is, you have a set height, usually 30 inches is what I use, and you get over it however you want. You can, like, you have a pull-up bar, and you can set the pull-up bar really low and get over it. Or I set it up on a box, and you have two boxes with a pull a broomstick or something, get over it, and then underneath it. So there's something also to be said about not just being able to do it, but also being able to do it smoothly, because when you're in the woods, you have to, like, you can't just like barrel your way through it and step on everything, everything, and rustle all the leaves, break out all the sticks. And that's why we do those lateral box step overs a lot too, with weight on. We carry sandbags. All that kind of stuff is we're not just doing it to do it. We want to actually focus on what we're doing, how we're doing it, because you need to be able to do it quietly and efficiently, because you might have to be, literally going up and over, especially like he just said, Rich may choose the worst route possible or someone else may choose the worst route possible. And sometimes the worst route possible is like maybe the only route. And yeah, you're going to have to move smoothly and quickly through stuff like an athlete. When you're out there, you have to think about yourself as an athlete. Like, you can't just be, Elmer Fudd out there just wandering around.
Yep.
Have the coffee.
Yep.
You're like hogging it. I'm dying.
I'm just keeping it off the table. Scott, you got anything? Scott's off the mic.
No, I don't think so.
Do you want me to talk more about programming? Or
Scott's a pretty
maybe even what's coming up.
Scott's a pretty experienced Western hunter as well. I didn't realize you had a headset on. So Scott, all but 2 hunts you've been on with me pretty much. So we've kind of grown up together in hunting and So Scott's usually part of the team. Scott trains probably harder than, or just as hard as any one of us at the table to be ready for the mountains. And so at no point is Scott ever going to be the weak link, especially when it's time to go home.
Yeah, you put him in go home
mode. You ain't keeping up with Scott.
No. To touch on some of the stuff that we have coming up in the programming, like I've added in once a week, I've started to add in some more cardio very often. So Wednesdays we're using as like the weight vest Wednesday. Sometimes they're with a ruck, but you can almost call it just like an added body weight Wednesday. That is just another idea of getting more sport specific, getting closer to hunting season, having an external load on your body for a long duration. Those workouts are usually long days. We'll be working for 20 to 30 minutes or longer a lot of that time, and having weight on our body. And I try to make those as sport specific as I possibly can. So if I want to look at Wednesday here, it was 25 minutes of a 400-meter run, 21 push-ups, and 12 strict pull-ups, all wearing a weight vest. So like some Murph prep style work there. And running, obviously, pounding on the legs is pretty much the basis of like hunt prep. Like that's where everyone starts. You're like, well, how do I start hunt prep? You're like, well, I'm just going to start running. And then when that gets boring, come on to Mayhem Hunt and we can change it up for you and vary it a little bit more.
It gets boring pretty quick.
It gets boring pretty quick. I can't run just every single day. Some people can, but I cannot. And then I'm like Rich, my knee would hate me. So yeah, weight vest Wednesdays. And then we have some extra sled work. Bird, when you said that, I'd actually just started putting in extra sled work at least once, maybe twice a week. Sled work, sandbag work. after the workout. So like long sled drags or long sled pushes and sandbag carries. So, because we're talking about that, I'm thinking of that grind where you are pushing a sled for 200 feet, maybe not crazy load, but you're pushing it for 200 feet. And then you grab a sandbag and you put it on your shoulder and you're carrying that for 200 feet. You're simulating getting up a mountain, getting to a position to make a shot, make the shot. And now you have to do the pack out. And so you put that weight on your shoulder and you're carrying it out. So,
what would you say? Obviously, like a sled is, we would probably say you have to have a sled, right?
Sled's really
helpful. If you don't, would you just do lunges there?
Lunges and then what?
Push a cooler or something.
Yeah. Push something. You could push something like a cooler.
Plate pushes.
Or a plate push. Yeah, there's a plate push, which you need a good. The problem with a plate push is having the right surface to push it on. Concrete is like a smooth concrete.
Same with the sled, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Pushing on a sled here at the barn versus the gym is infinitely different.
Yep. Sled, and then so that's a good point. So if you can't sled push, I would say the 1-to-1 thing for a sled push would be a sled drag, because I believe you could drag a sled on most, like with a waist strap or with handles. You can drag it a whole lot easier than you can push it because of the angle that you're moving it at. You're picking up just a little bit and pulling it on a road, or even I don't advise this. You could do it in your backyard. I guess you may tear up your backyard. But without a sled, pushing a box, pushing a plate, if you have the surface for it, lunges work great. Or even just going, we do run a lot in the programming because
air
it's
bike,
very,
if you can get one.
Air bike works, bike erg works. Even if you have a bike, like if you literally are working out in your garage and the workout, let's just say it's push-ups and sled push, just for an example, you could do the push-ups and then you can ride your bike half a mile, come back. You're going to get a very similar leg stimulus. That cyclical work of your legs, where your sled push is the same thing, where it's just pounding, and it's not as much pounding isn't the right word, but it's just a repetitive motion. You're going to get that on a bike. You're going to get that you could even do a ruck run, because you're getting a little bit more weight on the quads and on the joints. So yeah, there's a ton of options. And then let's see.
If you have hills, you just run up a hill.
You can hit, that's very good. Yeah. If you have a hill in your backyard, I have a hill. My parents have a hill in their backyard, and it's pretty bad. It's right now, like we have a pull-up bar and the gym and all the equipment's right there, and I used to do hill runs all the time. And then we're adding in like air bike intervals. So like this workout today has some air bike, some GHD sit-ups, or just regular sit-ups, whatever you have, and then some front rack lunges. So it's a lot of lower body. And then afterwards, this is kind of my idea I took from him, is afterwards, we don't want to accumulate so much volume on the GHD or the lunges, because you can get incredibly sore really quickly with those. So then afterwards, we'll do 5 more sets of just the bike. So you're getting more bike. And like I said, that cyclical movement of moving my legs back and forth, kind of at a nonstop motion, is just, it's what you're going to be doing. You are going to be walking for a long time. You're going to be hiking. You're going to have a lot of pressure on your legs for a long time. And the bike is really good for that, and saving your joints while you're doing that.
Cool. Yep. Agreed. Yep. So big things. You're going on a Western hunt. Get ready physically, mentally, and find a team. Find a group of guys, girls, whatever, that'll push you. Find some people that are, you can bounce some ideas off of. You don't have to be training in the exact same vicinity all the time, but every once in a while is great. And then if you can daily do a little check-in, we're all better together, stronger together. And so find a group of people that are going to push you physically, mentally, all those things.
Yep. That's why I work out with you all.
Yeah, right.
Cool.
Scott, you got anything to add? All right. In Pursuit, episode 2. Let us know what you want to hear in the comments, or
how we're wrong in the comments.
They'll for sure let us know how we're wrong.
There's no shortcut to building gear that won't fail. That's why First Light built the new Forge waders from the ground up, field tested for years, so that failure isn't an option. Designed for waterfowl hunters who show up in the dark, who break ice at the shoreline, and who stay out when the conditions stay brutal. These aren't fair weather waders. They're built to perform and built to last. If you're planning your waterfowl season, plan around gear that won't quit on you. Forge waders by First Light. Zero quit season after season. Available now at firstlight.com. That's FIRSTLITE.com.
This is an iHeart podcast.